think we could have just all stood back and let Breeze do it, because Breeze like knew what we were gonna do and was like a step ahead of everybody with what the next thing was gonna be. She just knew because she had done it before. The thing I think we talked about, what do we gain from this drill? Like if you just go through and do drills that the dogs know, I don't know that you're gaining anything. But what I think we gained out of it was, because Breeze knew what we were gonna do, we didn't do it that way. We changed it up 4 or 5 times on the fly, because Breeze said, we're going to make a retrieve over there. So she stepped ahead, a half a step ahead, and was ready to, just waiting for her to say her name so she could go get it. Well, then we said, no, we're not gonna do that. Turn around and go the other way. And then we decided to do it, like one time she knew we were gonna go across that ditch and make the retrieve. So we decided we're not going across the ditch, we're going into doing an easy one the opposite direction. And I think it surprised Breeze and went, it's not the same as we've always done it. And I actually have to maybe start paying a little bit more attention. And then Breeze's eyes really turned. And one of the things Vicki does is she was always turning one direction. She was always turning one direction. She was always turning one direction. And pretty soon she'd come to a stop and Breeze was ready to turn around, and then we said, no more turning that way. We're gonna turn into her every time. So we just, when dogs start to assume the next step, mix it up. Vicki's got so much ability with Breeze to do so many different things. I think it needs to be, instead of that routine of doing the drills, be creative, mix things up, catch her off guard, whatever the dog decides to do the opposite, and keep them honest. And so with Curtis's dog, I'd say do it the same way over and over and over again to get really good at it. Get to the point where these guys are with it. And then, once the dog starts to make some assumptions on its own, change it up. Keep them honest. That is a big version of what we do in heel work when we're just heeling the dogs back and forth and the dogs start to anticipate where we're going to stop and turn. There was a couple times today where I told you, stop turning at the same spot every time. Because every time you got to a point, you turned, and Fletch just memorized. They're so smart, I think they memorize the stuff we're going to do.
I think Breeze counted the steps back that one time.
Yes.
She went to turn
Yeah.
around.
The one time we constantly had to mix it up. Well, the one time we sent her from a spot, she went down, got it, we reset it, and we were gonna go beyond it, and when we got to the spot where she was sent before, she turned the opposite way, because Vicki was always turning like this in the beginning, and then we said no more like that, you gotta turn this way, which is harder for her dog, and her dog had to think a little bit more, and it made her dog want to stay back a little bit instead of in front, because if it was in front and she turned, it was out of position. So those are all the reasons why we were doing it. And when Vicki was coming past that one spot, she got to that spot, and the dog even turned the new way, like, and looked like embarrassed. Like when she got done doing that, I think she was embarrassed because she went, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. But I think you're right. I think she had it in her head of, oh, we're coming up on that spot where I'm going to make the retrieve, right? And we're not. So it's constant. And so this is seesawing. I'm going to tell Curtis, do the same thing over and over again, just incrementally build it up to get this success. You've done that already. Now, don't do that. Now, mix it up. But you can't start mixing stuff up until they have it really good. So we get really, like, sometimes I train a dog to sit every time I stop because I want to form that habit. And then because every time I stop they sit, it gets me in trouble later on because I'm trying to do something else. And if they sit, it doesn't work. So now I got to untrain it and just change it. It's not super drastic and it's not going to, but the dog has to be flexible and willing to do what we want to do when we want to do it, and it's us getting that message to them of what we want. So that's a progressional thing of as they get older and as they get better at stuff, you might end up changing. Like, it's never ending, it's always evolving.